No history, no sleep. Tonight, we drift once again into the unnoticed corners of America's quiet suburbs. No battles, no revolutions, just brick houses, empty sidewalks, and stories no one ever asked to remember. So, get comfortable, let the streetlights hum, and allow the dull comfort of forgotten details to carry you toward sleep. This is Stories from the Sidewalk, Spokane Valley, Washington. Place where things mostly go as expected. Grocery stores open on time, sprinklers run on schedule, people wave politely, and then move on. But once, not long ago, something nearly happened here. Something exciting, something completely out of character. Spokane Valley almost got a theme park. Not a big one, not a Disney or a Six Flags, just a theme park with rides and music and churros. It started with a flyer, printed in black and white, a proposal, folded neatly, left on the front desk of City Hall. It said, Adventure Pines, coming soon. A name both vague and ambitious. The plan was simple: a log flume, a lazy river, a roller coaster with 2 small hills, a gift shop that sold t-shirts no one would wear, and a giant squirrel mascot named Captain Crunchleaf. A meeting was scheduled. The city council sat in metal chairs. They listened, they nodded. One person clapped, quietly. Concerns were raised. Noise, traffic. What if the mascot scared children? What if the log flume splashed into nearby yards? There were discussions, then subcommittees, then budget reviews, then silence. No one said no, but no one said yes. The paperwork sat in a drawer, untouched, unmoved, unbothered. Weeks passed, then months, then a year. The flyer faded, the idea faded with it. Captain Crunchleaf was never born. The churros were never fried. The log flume never flowed. And Spokane Valley remained exactly what it had always been: a quiet place with neat lawns and stop signs that everyone obeys, where the most thrilling radius a left turn on a green arrow. Today, no one talks about the theme park, not because they're sad, but because they kind of forgot, and because there's really nothing to miss that never actually arrived. So if you ever find yourself riving through Spokane Valley, and you feel like something is missing, like the echo of laughter that never happened, or the scent of funnel cake that never cooked, you might be sensing the ghost of a park that almost was. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough excitement for one suburb. Reston, Virginia, a planned community, carefully designed, symmetrical, efficient, but not without its quirks. Tucked between rows of townhomes, behind a park that no one really visits, lies something strange. Something circular, something forgotten. A traffic circle, built long ago, but not remembered, not respected, and rarely used. Its origins are unclear. Some say it was an experiment, part of a master plan, to reduce speed. To encourage order, to make driving feel civilized. Others say it was never meant to be there, that it appeared in a draft, got approved by mistake, and was poured into concrete before anyone could say, wait, do we need this? Either way, the circle was built, paved perfectly, painted precisely, a smooth roundabout with 3 exits. One leads nowhere, one leads to a dead end, and the third leads you right back where you came from. For a while, it worked. Kind of. Drivers entered, turned, exited, sometimes too fast, sometimes too slow. There were signs, yield, keep right, but no one read them, because no one looked, because no one cared. Soon, the circle became confusing. Locals avoided it, delivery drivers ignored it, GPS gave up on it, and little by little, the traffic circle lost its purpose, its meaning, its identity. The paint faded. The grass inside grew wild. Weeds sprouted defiantly, as if reclaiming the land from suburban planning. Today, the traffic still flows, but around it, not through it. Like a dance floor no one wants to dance on, because no one knows the steps. The forgotten traffic circle of response sits quietly, not broken, not dangerous, just ignored, a monument to indecision, to a time when someone said, "This seems like a good idea," and no one argued. So if you ever find yourself in Reston, and you see a small round patch of asphalt with no one inside, that's it. That's the circle, still waiting, still hoping, still spinning in theory. And as you drive past it, take a moment, lower your window, wave to a piece of infrastructure it once dreamed of purpose, and now dreams of being remembered. Carmel, Indiana, a town known for its roundabouts, for its calm streets, and for its general lack of urgency. It was a Tuesday, but not the kind of Tuesday you remember, just a normal one, with normal clouds and normal coffee. People woke up, slowly, quietly. Some pressed snooze, some didn't. No one was in a rush, not even the birds. The post office opened at 9, as it always does. No one lined up. No one complained. A man mailed a letter. A woman bought stamps. The stamps were floral, but no one noticed. At the grocery store, the carts didn't squeak. The aisles were stocked. No bananas fell. The automatic doors worked perfectly. No one left a cart in the parking lot. It was peaceful. At the local park, a small dog barked once, then sat down. A squirrel ran halfway up a tree, then changed its mind. 2 children played on the swings. The swings creaked, but not too loud. The librarian checked in books, mostly mysteries, none overdue. One man read the newspaper. He turned the pages slowly. There was no headline worth remembering, and that's okay. At exactly noon, a light breeze passed through town. It rustled one flag, flipped one leaf, then moved on. Traffic was polite. Blinkers were used. No horns were honked. Even the roundabouts spun gently, as if the cars were dancing in Circlesto, a song only the asphalt could hear. By afternoon, a few people yawned. Someone took a nap. A dog walked its owner. Everyone seemed mildly content. No one made a big decision. Even the sky seemed bored. It didn't rain. It didn't shine too brightly. It just existed, like wallpaper for the day. Dinner was eaten. Some had pasta, others had leftover casserole. The TV was on, but no one really watched it. It just murmured softly in the background. And when night came, it came slowly. No lightning. No thunder. Just the quiet dimming of a town that had nothing to prove. Carmel, Indiana, had a day where nothing happened, and somehow, that was everything. Plainfield, Illinois, a name that whispers modesty. Not Springfield, not Fairfield, just Plainfield. Tucked quietly in the northeastern corner of the state, Plainfield does not shout. It does not sparkle. It simply exists. Long ago, before it was Plainfield, it was land. Just land, grass, trees, wind that blew without paperwork. No houses. No sidewalks. Just the sound of nothing in particular. Then, in the early 1800s, people began to arrive. Slowly, quietly, like fog rolling in with no particular urgency. They built cabins, chopped wood, talked about the weather, and agreed that the land was fine. At some point, they needed to name it. They could have chosen something grand, something poetic. But they looked around, and someone must have said, "Well, it's plain." And everyone nodded, and that was that. The town grew. A general store appeared, then a blacksmith, then a church. None of them made the news, and that was fine. Plainfield had roads, but not the kind that led to big dreams. Just roads that went from one normal thing to another normal thing. Like from the schoolhouse to the post office, or from the dairy barn to the quiet Sidewalk, a cornfield. People came and went, some stayed. Some moved one town over, and one became famous. No wars were fought here, no declaration signed. But the train stopped occasionally, and that was considered exciting. In the 1900s, Plainfield got electricity, then paved streets, and eventually a bowling alley. Each change was met with a polite nod. Nothing too fast, nothing too bright. Today, Plainfield has chain restaurants, stoplights, and neighborhoods where every house looks just slightly different from the last. It's a town where the most controversial thing might be the height of a mailbox, or the length of a lawn, and still remains exactly what it promised to be: plain, quiet, comfortable, a place where not much happens, and that is kind of beautiful. So if you ever drive through Plainfield, don't rush. Don't expect a monument or a legend. Just roll your window down, feel the ordinary air, and know that you are in a place that never needed to impress you, because sometimes plain is perfect. Beaverton, Oregon. A place where the rain taps gently on windows, where lawns are well fed, and where parks air quietly. There, nestled between modest playground sand basketball hoops that echo rarely, you'll find them the picnic tables. Wooden, faded, often slightly damp. They don't make noise. They don't move. They don't ask for attention. But for a brief moment in the early 1990s, they were part of something bigger, something almost organized, something nearly memorable. It was called the Community Sit Initiative, a local campaign designed to encourage neighbors to sit more outside together. The city installed 27 new picnic tables in various parks, each one stained a gentle brown, with metal legs painted forest green. There was no ceremony, just a quiet rollout. One Tuesday morning, before most people woke up, flyers were distributed. They read, "Sit, share, smile, simple, hopeful," laminated. For a few weeks, it worked. Families brought sandwiches. Retirees brought chessboards. Teenagers pretended not to care but still sat anyway. Then, it rained. Not a storm, just Oregon rain. Soft, persistent. People stayed inside. The chessboards warped. The flyers curled. The picnic tables waited. Over the years, they faded. Some were repainted, some weren't. One was moved closer to a trash can. No one remembers why. Eventually, the Community Sit Initiative was quietly removed from the city website. No one noticed, not even the person who deleted the page. Today, if you walk through a Beaverton park, you might see one. A picnic table, alone, damp, patient. It no longer expects sandwiches, or conversation. It simply exists. A flat surface in a world that rarely pauses. Sometimes, a crow lands on it. Sometimes, a leaf rests there and stays until the wind changes. And that's enough, because even forgotten table shave stories, even if no one tells them out loud. Naperville, Illinois, a town where the lawns are trimmed, the schools are rated highly, and the mail always arrives right on time. But once, in a neighborhood known as Fox Glen Estates, something happened. Not something big, not something loud, but something slightly interesting. It began with a mailbox, just one, at the edge of a driveway like thousands of others. Except this one was new. It was dark green, rounded, with a small brass flag and a decorative vine painted on the side. Harmless, really, but it was different, and different was dangerous. The next day, a neighbor noticed. Her name was Carol. She walked past the mailbox while walking her golden retriever, Baxter. She paused. She stared. She frowned. The Homeowners Association handbook clearly stated, mailboxes must be standard black, non-reflective, with white numbering. This one was not that. Carol emailed the HOA, then printed the email, then walked it over just to be sure. By the following week, 3 other homes had replaced their mailboxes. One was red. One had a small bird carved into the post. One was black, but glossy. The neighborhood fell into quiet chaos. Subtle glances, passive-aggressive gardening. One person placed a gnome next to their mailbox as a statement. No one knew what the statement meant. A meeting was called. In the clubhouse beside the tennis courts, no one really used. Folding chairs were set in a circle. Lemonade was served, but no one drank it. The HOA president, a man named Glenn, read from the handbook very slowly. Carol nodded at every line. Someone sneezed. No one said bless you. After 1 hour and 16 minutes, it was agreed that a subcommittee would be formed to review mailbox aesthetics. And just like that, the war was over, before it ever really began. Within 2 months, the mailboxes were all repainted. Black, non-glossy, predictable. The gnome disappeared. Baxter barked a little less, and Glenn received a thank you card from no one in particular. Today, if you drive through Naperville and pass by Fox Glen Estates, you'll see mailboxes, dozens of them, all the same, as if nothing ever happened. And that's almost true. But somewhere in a storage bin in someone's garage, there sits a dark green mailbox with a brass flag and a painted vine, waiting patiently for history to repeat itself. Garden Grove, California, a city with palm trees, steady sunlight, and sidewalks that stretch for miles. Sidewalks meant for walking, for jogging, for dragging trash bins on Thursday mornings. But beneath every peaceful step, there are cracks, tiny lines, jagged paths, quiet, uncelebrated history written in concrete. You might not notice them. Most people don't. They're just there, near the mailbox, next to the fire hydrant, under the shadow of a tree that no one planted, but everyone waters. The cracks began long ago. No one remembers exactly when. Probably around the time sidewalks were first poured. The year? Unimportant, but it was a warm day. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday. At first, the concrete was perfect, smooth, flat, promising. It stretched out like hope. But then, time passed. And time, as we know, is bad for concrete. It began with hairline fractures, thin as whispers, curving just slightly at the edges. Then came the bigger ones, the ones that made children point. And parents say, watch your step. Some cracks were caused by tree roots, some by bicycles, some no one knows. They just appeared, like wrinkles on a very tired city. There were efforts to repair them. Crews came with tar, with putty, with small machines that hummed politely. They filled some lines, ignored others. The work was quiet, and no one said thank you. Over time, the cracks developed personalities. There was the long one near the elementary school that looked like a lightning bolt. There was the crosshatch pattern in front of the dry cleaners that people said resembled the face of an old mayor. There was even one crack-shaped, almost like California itself. It became a local secret, a sort of geographical inside joke. But cracks, like people, keep growing. Some split wider, some branch out, some disappear beneath new layers of construction and forgetfulness. Today, if you walk through Garden Grove and you look down, you'll see them, still stretching, still shifting, still whispering their slow, silent story. A story of heat, of time, of footsteps that came and went without noticing what was beneath them. So next time you pass a sidewalk crack, don't step over it too quickly. Pause, feel its shape, trace its quiet journey, And remember, even concrete gets tired. Maplewood, New Jersey. A town with trees, sidewalks, lawns that are slightly too well kept, and brick houses. So many brick houses. You drive down one street, brick. Turn the corner, more brick. They line up like polite little red soldiers, each one proud, each one basically the same. But why? Why so many bricks? Why not wood? Why not something quirky like stucco or stone or glass shaped like a seashell? The answer is not that interesting, but we'll tell it anyway, because that's what we do here. Long ago, before the bricks, there were trees, big ones, maple ones, if you believe the name, and people came, people with ideas, people with hats. First, they built houses with wood, because wood was there, and it was cheap, and no one had invented the word aesthetic yet. Then one day, a fire happened. Not a dramatic fire, just a regular fire. Someone left a lantern too close to a curtain, and poof, no more parlor. After that, people started thinking about brick. Brick doesn't burn like wood. Brick doesn't rot like wood. Brick just stays there, like an old friend who never leaves, but also never says anything interesting. In the 1920s and 30s, brick became a trend, a suburban fashion statement, something that said, I am practical, I am stable, I will never surprise you. Maplewood embraced it, enthusiastically, but quietly. Developers loved brick too. You could mass-produce bricks, stack them like Lego, build fast, build strong, build the same house, over and over again, with minor changes, just enough so neighbors wouldn't feel weird. The result? Neighborhoods that look like architectural déjà vu. Rows of red, faded brown, maybe the occasional off-white rebel, but mostly just brick. Maplewood still has its bricks. Some are painted now, some are chipped, some are covered in ivy that refuses to go away, but the brick remains. People add porches, people redo kitchens, but the bones stay solid, because brick doesn't ask for much. It doesn't bend. It doesn't blink. It just waits. So if you find yourself in Maplewood, walking past one brick house after another, don't wonder where the variety went. Just smile. And remember, this town chose durability over drama. And honestly, in a world that moves too fast, there's something nice about a house that simply stands there. Shaker Heights, Ohio, place of calm streets, thoughtful zoning, and carefully maintained symmetry. Every block feels considered, every hedge trimmed, every driveway deliberate. But on one quiet corner where Winslow meets Cranford, there was a street lamp, just one, that always flickered, not broken, not off, just flickering. It wasn't dramatic, not a horror movie flicker, just a gentle blink, like the lamp was thinking or sighing. For years, people noticed, but no one did anything, because it never went fully out, and it never stayed fully on. It just existed in a state of mild uncertainty. Children walking home from piano lessons would glance at it. Some made wishes, others held their breath until it blinked again. Teenagers gave it a name, Blink. Some said it was haunted, others said it was just tired. One neighbor, Mrs. Alton, kept a journal. Every time she walked past it, she wrote down if it was flickering. Her notes spanned 12 years. She never missed a Tuesday. The city's maintenance department received 14 requests about it, each one marked low urgency. Technicians came, they checked the bulb, they checked the wiring, they even replaced the pole once, but nothing changed. Blink kept blinking, politely, persistently, almost like it wanted to be noticed, but not too much. One winter, a snowstorm hit. Power went out across the block. But when it returned, every light came back on except blink. For 37 minutes, it remained dark. And then, flicker, flicker again. And again. It had returned, just the way it always was. The same, unimproved, comfortingly flawed. Today, blink still flickers. Some nights more than others. Some nights less, but always just enough. And in a town where everything is expected, planned, and perfectly illuminated, there's comfort in knowing that one thing still blinks. Bloomington, Minnesota, a suburb known for the Mall of America, but far away from the mall, past the traffic, past the chain restaurants, lies a quieter part of town. A place where time almost stood still because of clocks. It started with one, a simple clock, hung on the wall of the town library. It was round, with numbers, and a soft ticking sound. But one day, it stopped. No one noticed at first, because most people carried phones, and phones tell time whether you want them to or not. But then, someone did notice, a man named Harold. He looked up, saw the clock stuck at 2:17. He thought, that's strange. And then he went back to reading. Weeks passed, and still, the clock said 2:17. People began to wonder, should it be fixed? Should it be replaced? Should it just be left alone? A meeting was held in the community center on a Wednesday. 5 people attended. 3 cared about the clock. 2 were just curious. They discussed batteries, wiring, the philosophical meaning of broken time. One woman, Marlene, suggested removing all public clocks to free people from pressure, she said, to live in the moment. She was applauded, quietly, because it was a library. Soon, other clocks began to break. The one at the fire station, the one in the high school hallway, even the blinking digital O'Neill, the laundromat that no one ever trusted anyway. Some said it was a sign, others said it was just old wiring, but no one fixed them, not because they couldn't, but because no one was in a hurry. A new rule was proposed. No new clocks without committee approval. It passed unanimously because only 4 people voted. Over time, Bloomington grew quiet about time. People glanced at the sun, or asked each other politely, or just guessed. And somehow life slowed down. Appointments were approximate. Dinner happened when people were hungry. Meetings started. Eventually, no one really minded. Today, if you visit Bloomington, you might look for a clock. And you might find one, but it probably won't be right. And that's okay. Because in this part of town, time doesn't rule. It just waits. So if you ever feel rushed, pressed, pulled by the ticking of your day, think of Bloomington, where clocks once became a problem, so people quietly stopped trusting them, and the world kept turning at its own pace. And now, you've heard about street lamps, mailboxes, and neighborhood. Sure, not much happened. And that's exactly the point. Little towns, small details, forgotten corners, all gently drifting into the quiet. If you're still awake, that's okay. You can always replay the story, or let the silencito the rest. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed being mildly interested, there's more where that came from. Good night, and sleep well.